Okay, so I wrote a whole script before, but every time I read from it, I sounded way too plasticky, and I couldn't really speak properly, I guess. So I'm just gonna do this freestyle instead. So let's start already. I reckon the traitor's Toru. It's a pretty common opinion, but I also reckon there's 3 other people who could be the traitor, but I'm only gonna talk about 2 of them, besides Toru, because I don't want the other one to be on. Okay, first of all, starting off with Class 1B, no one cares about most of the class, so it'd be a really lackluster effect on the audience if one of them was to be the traitor. There's 3 people, I think, who the audience would care about. You got Big Hands, you got Magic Man, and you got Discount Kirishima. Now, I doubt it would be Big Hands, because 1, she fisted Colonel Mustard, and 2, Horikoshi and the editors at Jump goddamn love her. So I don't think it would be her. Again, it could be anyone. This is just a theory. Now there's Magic Man. His competitiveness with Class 1A just makes him stand out too much. I don't think a traitor would have that kind of competitiveness. It's just, I don't know. He's just very bitter to only 1A. I don't think that it's him. And we saw what happened to Tetsu. We saw the training arc. We saw how he got his shit rocked by Mustard. He wouldn't be the traitor. Now on to the teachers. No one really cares about these teachers. So it would be a pretty shitty reveal if one of them was to be the traitor. But not this gunslinger guy. People would care if he was the traitor, because he's super cool. Or at least I think he's super cool. Screw you guys. But he shot Shigaraki, so, not him. 13 got messed up in the fight against the League of Villains, so not him. Eraserhead got shit stomped by Nomu, and almost got cremated by Darby, so not him. This is the one I was talking about before, one of the 3. Present could be the traitor, but I don't want him to be the traitor, because I like his character too much. So I'm just gonna say is not, even though he could be. Okay, and now Principal Nezu, the first actual suspect I'm going to talk about, but I'll talk about him at the very end. And also there's All Might, but, his All Might, so it's not him. Onto the Class 1A students. Originally, when I was writing the script, I had a whole spiel breaking down each student and their abilities and where they were and all that stuff. But during researching for this, I remembered the Bakugo rescue arc, and every student except 3 knew that Midoriya and friends was gonna go try and save Bakugo. And, what's-his-face, Shigaraki and the League of Villains weren't informed about this. Like, if you were, the traitor, if you were a mole in UA, then you think you would, immediately call up Shigaraki and the League of Villains and be like, hey man, I'm just saying, Midoriya and friends are gonna go and try and rock your shit. You may want to stop him. You may want to use him as bait for All Might to make him surrender, or whatever you're trying to get him to do. But no one informed Shigaraki. So that makes me think that the person there is the traitor wasn't there. The traitor wasn't informed. Which means it could only be out of those 3. Now, call me crazy. I don't think it's Bakugo. I know. Insane. This all being abducted by the League of Villains. So that just leaves Jiro and Toru. Now, I'm going to explain... Now, oh shit, I totally forgot about these guys. That guy who looks like he hasn't ever slept, the guy with the super bags and the messy hair, we saw his backstory, and his quirk isn't very strong for a traitor, if that makes sense. I don't know, he just doesn't seem like a traitor. That feels pretty weak to me, but I don't know, his backstory and his quirk is enough for me to think he's not the traitor. And the chick with targets in her eyes, she made an arsenal of weapons and gadgets for the heroes, so if she was the traitor and on the villain side, she's doing a pretty shit job. Let's be honest. Okay, now I'm gonna go through the 3 of Principal Nezu, Toru, and Earphone Jack. Forgot her name for a sec. Anyway, when Toru was when we see Toru at the UA attack, we don't see her do anything. We really don't see her at all. Like, she claims to be with Todoroki, and that he just didn't notice, but again, we didn't see her. Again, this is pretty basic stuff. Like, everyone already knows that. Also that she has, like, a really good infiltration quirk, which most people think is invisibility. But I don't think it is. I reckon it's light manipulation. Because, you know, her special move, or whatever it's called, at the licensing exam, where she basically did a solar flare? That wouldn't just be invisibility, that would be light manipulation. Like, if her ability is light manipulation, that she could probably make, like, illusions or holograms or whatever you want to call them, and lasers. And the lasers, whatever you want to call it, could explain how she destroyed the robots in order to get into UA. Since she's invisible, she could have had as much time to master her quirk as she needed, because, you know, she's invisible. Also, she's the one that suggested they go to the shops when Shigaraki threatened Deku, or spoke to Deku, or whatever he did with Deku. Her room is incredibly, like, teenage girly, which leads me to think that she's not actually a teenage girl, she's just acting like one. You know, again, this is pretty weak evidence. It's very, like, iffy, but it's something. As well as this one. You know when her and Jiro were knocked out by Mustard's gas? They were unharmed. Which, it kind of makes sense, because the fights didn't really happen around them. But at the same time, it's just a bit of extra evidence to say, hey, maybe they decided to avoid them because one of them was the traitor. On to Jiro. Jiro could be the traitor. I mean, she's only dealt with pretty, like, the bottom of the barrel, like, no-name villains during the UA attack. But at the same time, she has a really good relationship with her parents. They seem to be nice. She seems to be nice. They don't seem like the villainy type to me. Like that, she still could be one. She also did go to the internship where she worked with that road guy, the guy who looks like Car Stopper is what I'm gonna call him. I don't know his name. I'm not gonna look it up. Anyway, she kind of looks. She kind of does. Fuck it. She fists him. I forgot what I was gonna say. Like, she helps save people, she does all that stuff. It doesn't really mean anything. She could, if she was the traitor, then she could be doing that to try and, like, prove to everyone, like, hey, look at me, I'm being a hero, I'm totally not a villain in disguise. Or she could just be a nice person. Like, Jiro's probably the weakest out of the potential villains. And now for the bigger boy, who's actually a very small boy. See, Principal Nezu, he has, like, the perfect quirk and position for being the traitor. Similar to Invisigirl. Similar to Toru. See, with his super intelligence, like 5 billion IQ, and his position as principal of UA, he can get all the information and leak it to Shigaraki and the League of Villains without anyone even noticing, because he can use his smarts to throw people off his tracks. Like when he brought up the fact that there might be a traitor, because maybe the teachers would eventually start suspecting that there was. But if he's the first one to bring it up, then they would be like, oh, we'd never suspect him. He's the first one to bring it up. And look, his Principal Nezu. Look at him, he's so fluffy. I want to pat him. Anyway, I reckon even though Nezu has a lot going for him as the traitor, I reckon Toru just, like, smashes him with how much potential she has for being the traitor. How much evidence there is. Like, I reckon the reveal that Toru would be the traitor would be, like, crazy. Okay, only if my light manipulation theory is correct. Anyway, I reckon it would be more impactful than if Nezu was the traitor. To be honest, I really wanted Nezu to be the traitor. I initially wrote the script with him being the traitor, but I just couldn't look past all the evidence pointing towards Toru.